What is up, everybody? It is your boy Drift. We are back with Shinobi for another Overnights podcast, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about something a little different. But I'm gonna go ahead and let my co-host do his intro, and then we'll go ahead and discuss the topic and tell you guys what we're talking about.
What's up, y'all? Shinobi radixan. Do YouTube, a little bit of music every now and then, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. And since he just talked about what he just did, and you guys know what I do, the topic today is kind of obvious. We're talking about content creating and the struggles of content creating, things people go through when they make content, like the struggles, the ups, the downs. Maybe if those of you guys listening to the podcast, you want to start doing content and you're kind of like similar to us, where we're not huge. We don't have a lot of followers. We're kind of on the smaller side. We've had a little bit of success here and there, but it's just giving you guys the idea of why you should start or things to look out for when you're making content, and how to look at like the whole content game in general. So we're gonna go ahead and just freeball this one. We don't kind of have topics in order, so we're kind of just gonna go off the conversation. So I think to start the conversation, maybe we'll each explain like what got us into content or why we do content or what we're trying to do with our content now, because both me and him have went through a lot of changes. I feel like me am more on the specifics that I've completely changed my content multiple times, so it's a little different for me. But for him, it's more of changing the style of editing, but still keeping true to what he's doing. So we've both had our changes, but we're gonna go ahead and talk about that, like why we do content, like what keeps us wanting to do the new content that we're doing, etc. Stuff like that. I don't know if you want to start or not. Do you want to start or?
I guess I can start just cause I had the hiatus, and then I'm finally able to come back. So I guess I could start with that, and then lead into what got me into content creating, cause it ends up like tying it into it anyways.
Okay.
But for those that don't know or aren't sub to the channel, I have not uploaded since 2024. A bit of a long hiatus, just a little bit. Um, but it was mainly for because my laptop shit out. Um, I do plan to talk about it a little bit uh, in a video before like the official return comes back, but I can get into a little bit more detail here just because we've got the time. Um, so during Thankmas, during December of 2024, I didn't have money to donate for Thankmas that year. So I was like, I still want to do a video for Thankmas, but because I'm not able to donate, I want to do something a little bit different than what I usually do, which is usually like a small challenge, like play Apex, like kills are equivalent to a certain amount of money, knocks are equivalent to a certain amount of money, dubs, things like that. So it's something pretty simple and just nice to just have in the background and uh, just follow along. But I was like, it's a little bit too simple to do it this year. If I'm not able to donate, let me do something a little bit more different. And I don't know if it was around that time or a little bit before then. The tweet from Elon Musk about like his build in Elden Ring, everybody was shitting on it. And I was like, what if we do something to the same effect? Because I saw people then taking the build and actually like essentially playtesting it and trying to beat the whole game with it. I was like, that's a cool concept. That's a cool like start to an idea. So I had that in the back of my mind, and I wanted to play Liza P just because like I had the itch to play it. I wanted to go back to it, and I think during that time they had just announced the DLC for it, and I was like, well, I need a little bit of a refresher anyways, so good excuse to get back into playing it. So I was like, what if I do a build like if Gordon Ramsay played Liza P? So then, you go through the different weapons and you have your certain limitations and stuff. I ended up doing just fire for the attributes because like gas stoves they use the fire. You have electric stoves too, but electric stoves are ass in like a restaurant setting. And then like any kind of either British inspired weapons or kitchen themed weapons. So like it really started because one of the weapons is literally called the Master Chef knife, and I was like, okay, this is perfect. But it's not until like later on in the game, like really really late game, that you get it. So I was like, we got to make room for some other stuff. So that's how the idea came about, and then I recorded it. Initially, it was supposed to be like half narrated and half not. So I would play the game, not recording my voice, like narrate over it, and then it'll transition into like a scene or whatever of like me like actually playing the game live, like if it was a let's play kind of thing. But then I got COVID. I'm pretty sure it was COVID because I was sick for like 2 or 3 weeks, and I was like, man, I still want to play, but like my voice is not in it, and then I be getting headaches that end up not being headaches, but like migraines and shit. So I was like, that's just not like possible. So then it evolved into just making like a movie essentially, and using the different voice lines and stuff, chopping it up to tell the whole story without like me needing to actually narrate it. I had all that done. And then literally as soon as I like stopped being sick, there was like monsoons or storms or whatever, and the power tripped twice. I think my laptop would have been fine after the first one if I had unplugged it from the wall because I was charging it. But the second one is probably the one that did it in. I tried to save the shit out of that because I had not just that whole video recorded and then started editing it. I think I was like a third of the way through at that time. I had started three other Let's Plays that I had. One of them had like 2 or 3 episodes already recorded. One of them was just like the intro, the first episode, and then another one was 2 episodes in. So it was a lot of stuff, and I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do this shit no more, man. Because I was like, I gotta re-record a challenge video, literally from scratch. I gotta redo these three Let's Plays. I don't, I don't really feel like if I want to do that. So I kind of just like sat on it for a little bit. It's not like I could have just copped a laptop anyways, just like that afterwards.
Yeah.
I had to like still wait. Um, which was also a good thing because it also gave me time to think about like the direction of the channel of where I wanted to take it, and that's how the different editing stuff that I wanted to do or that I'm gonna do came up. And also now I have a PC, which is a lot better than the laptop. I originally had the laptop because I was like, well, if I have the laptop, I can still take trips, and then when I'm like out, I can edit on the go. That shit never happened. I think I did that shit twice, and that was it. So I was like, you know what? Just get the PC, get more, more power, and I could now like stream if I wanted to. We'll get to that eventually in the episode. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I got the PC, and then I was not ready to go, which was a little concerning for me because I started getting into YouTube because I wanted to essentially give back what YouTube brought me through the different creators that we'll end up talking about. So I was like, damn, like, do I really like not want to do this anymore? Like, what's going on? So that kind of just sat there for I think like a month. Then I was like, you know what? Whatever, man. You gotta push it through. Which it came kind of like full circle, not just like as a content creator, but like with the game too, or just like with the genre of Souls like if you're gonna get your ass beat and then you just want to give up, then like you're not gonna get to enjoy like the rest of the game and like what it has to offer, and like if the story is good and all that, you know what I mean? You're kind of like copping yourself out of it. And the whole point of those games is to like realize your mistakes and then like build upon them and then get better and you know evolve.
Yeah.
So I was like, whatever, let's do it. So I re-recorded it. It came out better than it initially did, just because now I had like like a solid idea for it. And then it took me a while to get back into the groove of editing. Uh, and it was actually the podcast that got me back into like fully going into editing because now we have like not necessarily a schedule, but like I have to make time to sit down and record them. We got to do our own like little research and stuff. So that brought back that fuel, and then we're here now. But yeah, it was a hiatus, not by choice, but silver linings to it. A lot of good came out of it. Um, now, now we back and we here, and I'm more than ready. Like I'm genuinely like super excited. It's almost like starting up a new channel, but not. And I guess that ties into how we got into YouTube for me, because you be dabbling in other stuff like with Twitch and TikTok and stuff. But for me, uh, YouTube that started because of Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2, and we've talked about this before. Black Ops 2 was like the golden era for uh, like gaming montages. I mean, you had Vanos, you had KYR Speedy, you had Phase Optic, all the trick shotting montages and stuff. Aside from the funny moments,
Yeah.
we were talking about me and Fane were talking about it too. Like that era generated millions for people. Like people are still set just from those days. And that was kind of like the start of like really being able to make some money from gaming. I don't think that was a thing before then, but because it blew
No, I
up,
don't think so either.
like yeah, just because it blew up to the like point that it did at that particular time.
Ooh, he's back. Don't worry, guys. He's going back to the
Yeah,
Discord.
edit that out. What's her name? Susan Wasanowski or whatever, who run the YouTube. She kicked me out. But yeah. Anyways, they was making money, and then I saw that as an opportunity also. Cause I was like, I don't really know what I want to do, because this was around my junior year of high school. Uh, Yeah, junior year. I don't think during my sophomore year was a thing, or if it was, I wasn't into YouTube like that at that time. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do, just like career wise or with life in general. So I was like, well, I like video games, and I could tell people are making money. Why don't I try this?
Yeah.
Didn't get no support from anybody because it, like I said, it was so new. It's thinking about it now and like saying, "Oh yeah, I make money from streaming. I make money from playing video games." It's such a normal thing now. Back then, it was like, "That's not a real job. How are you actually making money? How does YouTube give you the money?" Like there were so many
Questions.
questions and like a lot of concerns that like it was understandable that it was one of those like taboo things to say like, "Oh, I want to be a YouTuber or I want to make videos." But I copped the Elgato and we started the Reverse Gaming channel. That is a throwback. That's still up. You can search it up and it's still there. We never took anything down or hit anything because I mean, with content, and we'll talk about like how to get started and stuff. But with content creating, and I've learned this throughout, just like other experiences too, specifically with like music. If you have an idea and you have a pretty solid plan of what you want to do and how you want the video to turn out or how you want the song to turn out, whatever the case might be, but you're like, I don't have the resources. I don't have the tools to do that. Just do it with the shit that you've got access to. Like we started reverse gaming on the Windows Movie Maker, and that was it. And the Elgato that I used didn't even go to 1080p. I think it was 720.
Yeah,
You just
the original ones I think went to 720. Yeah.
yeah, um, you just sitting down and doing it and fleshing it out is way better than holding off on it because you're gonna get to the point, and I almost got to the point with the video, with the Liza P video, where it's like you're so far beyond that inspiration stage or that inspiration moment that now you're like, nah, I kind of feel like it's not gonna hit, or I feel like it's just not the time anymore to upload it. You're gonna get that feeling, and then you're just never gonna like take the action and start doing it because you're never gonna have the resources and the tools you need to the T of what you think you actually need to
To grow.
make the video or make the song. Which is I get it because I'm a perfectionist like that, but you're building up your resume essentially. Like now I've had years of creating videos. Now I know like okay, the new editing stuff that I want to do and how I want to make the videos. I know like I'm able to do this now. Back then I was not able to do that. But I wouldn't have gotten to this point if I didn't put in the time and try to gain the experience to this point. There's hundreds of videos that I've uploaded that I could go back to and look now and be like, that is a shit ass video. But I know that I can make something better now. If I hadn't ever gotten to just sit down and do it, I'd probably still be making the same quality of videos back then now. So it, it was just a very different time, and I was like, whatever, let's just do it with what we got. And then it was the same thing, funny moments and stuff like that. But what really pushed me into the let's play aspect of YouTube and the much longer form or longer videos was let's plays, specifically Jacksepticeye. Jacksepticeye is probably my top influence when it comes to let's plays, and I think I talked about this before. The Neverending Nightmares let's play specifically was the one that was like, okay, yeah, I can see why people do this, and it's not for like money reasons. If nobody's ever like seen that let's play or know of the game is based off of a guy going through depression, and it's just what he experienced, what he felt. I don't know if it was exactly what he saw, but it was just a personification of the depression that he was going through. And in the first video, I still remember it. Jack just like takes a moment to be like, "Yo, like, I'm here for you. If you don't have anybody, I'll be your friend today. Just like have me in the background if you need me. Uh, you know, watch the video along if that's what you prefer. But just know like I'm here for you, kind of thing." And that let's play got me through like a whole bunch of stuff because this is like during like high school. I don't know what I want to do. The family wants me to do one thing. I'm like, no, that's not really something I'm like passionate for or see myself doing. But it's kind of like, well, you live under my house, your ass is gonna do it, kind of thing. So it not just that let's play, but Jack as a whole and all the let's plays that he did back in the day got me through it. So I was like, that's what I want to do YouTube for. I want to be, that scapegoat from just like either a bad day or maybe you just need, a homie to be playing a game in the background or whatever. So that's why I do what I do now. So that was the start of the journey essentially.
Okay, okay. That makes a lot of sense. I think some of the things you also listed as like common struggles for people. I think, well, first to go back to like the beginning of you losing all your footage. That that sucks. I don't think people under like people make it sound like it's easy to get back over. Like if you lose footage and people are like, bro, it's not that hard. Like just re-record. I don't think people understand that it takes like time to do that, and I can see the loss of motivation is
Yeah.
super real. It's hard when you lose content like that. And no matter how good of an editor or creator you are, just knowing that you put work into something or you put effort into something for it to be completely wiped away instantly is just unfortunate. I mean, that's hard for anyone to come back. Um, there's a few things that I
Yeah.
think that you point out that are really good topics for content creating as we're talking about it. One is doing things with your own, whatever you got. I think a good example of that will be what I'm about to bring up when I talk about my little story. So before I share that, but let's go to the next one I wanted to point out real quick was the motivation from the podcast. I think whenever you're surrounded with people who do content, it makes content way easier. Um,
Yep.
I think there was a phase of our group where like everyone was kind of like streaming and making content. It was like me, for those of you guys who know him by Arza or Justice, Gabe was making content on Destiny. He was actually doing gameplay YouTube's Twitch streaming. Dylan was also streaming trials. He was making shorts and stuff like that. I think when we were doing that, it added motivation. When we were on the game, ideas were flickering while we were on. I think iron sharpens
Yeah.
iron in any type of category, like anything out of sports. Iron sharpens iron regardless. And when we were getting on, it's like it was infectious. Like especially when we were doing Destiny gameplays. Like I uploaded a lot of Destiny gameplays. Gabe uploaded a lot of Destiny gameplays. Justice was doing TikToks and also like a part of streaming with us. So like he went live, Gabe went live, I went live. Boom, all three of us live on trials. We were playing. It just inspired an infectious disease kind of like that just attached to everyone. Gabe would get on. We started looking at ideas for videos. We bring up guns. We give each other gun ideas. Boom, there you go. Video done. Video idea. Do the
Yep.
gameplay. It was motivation to each other. I think is something that could really help you guys make content. And I'm glad that Julio said the podcast is doing that for him. It's really doing that for me too, in the sense of YouTube, because like I said, we'll go ahead and hop into my story, and I'll bring up the other thing I said I was going to bring up, and that is um, the use what you got type of thing, and I'll explain what I mean by that. Um, and like I said, the infectious thing with your friends. But I'll go ahead and talk about myself for a little bit. I'm obviously like the opposite, I think, than what he said. A lot of people, back then, at least in our friend group, got into it for like the Call of Duty and the funny moments and the gameplays. Although I have always played Call of Duty, I shared this in the previous podcast. Before I really got into Call of Duty, although I played it the whole time from when it released and stuff, that was never my content goal first. I think I was the opposite of what you said because you know how you said you went from content or Call of Duty to walkthroughs. I was the opposite.
Yeah.
I think before I started any of this, I had a general idea of I wanted to collect a bunch of games, um, whether it be a bunch of systems, a bunch of CDs, or like actual games, like a bunch of PS2 games, PS3 games, the Wii, the Nintendo, the Switch, the DS, the PSP. I had it all. The Xbox 360. I wanted to collect games and make content around my collection, and then from that, I wanted to do things like walkthroughs. I loved watching people play like Sly Cooper, Jack and Dexter, Ratchet and Clank. My very first video on my channel was actually not on a capture card. It's when I was younger. I don't have this video up no more. But I actually recorded me playing all of Sly 4 on my phone, like just fucking propped up a phone,
Hell yeah.
propped up a phone. It was recorded through my phone. I feel like that was an era of things for people like our age of people were like the last people who did that. I know I wasn't the only one. A lot of people actually recorded videos on their phone, whether it be like their game and stuff, because before capture cards were still semi new when we were
Yeah.
in middle school. So people were finding other ways to record, and you had to share clips somehow for games. So recording through like an actual camera or phone was not like untypical of people who weren't famous. So like that was the thing I did. So that's how it all kind of started for me. Like I said, the inspiration of wanting to play walkthroughs and play a bunch of games. I am just like you. I kind of watched a bunch of creators like Terra Ninja or Super Saiyan Paul that did like walkthroughs and stuff, and it made me want to play the games that I played as a childhood and do walkthroughs to. Before I transitioned into Call of Duty, I think once I started making Call of Duty content and playing it like competitively, then I started watching like Nate Shot, Scump, the Optic guys, the Phase guys. Then it makes me want to kind of switch to that era of YouTube. That's kind of how I got
Yeah.
started. But I, you know, I have not always been passionate about YouTube as much as I would say you. I think you've been. It seems like you've been passionate from the beginning. I did those videos for a little bit, and then I kind of took a break. Kind of got out of making videos, just doing other things, and then you know, a part of my channel that I'll kind of skip a few years now. We're thinking about like 2015 now, 2016. Um, I started playing Madden, and this is before I started doing YouTube. I was still on my hiatus or my break from, really making content. Little by little, I started playing Madden every season, like Madden 16, Madden 17, Madden 18. Around Madden 17, I met all of our friends like through high school that I know now, like Fane and Dylan and everyone that plays and Volting, people who play Madden. Kai Dub, it gets me around a community of people who play Madden. And when I was already playing the game a lot, I would get on and play with them. And there's just like thing that was missing from Madden for a long time, and that was like squads, which is the ability to be able to play, you know, with your homies, like on the same team.
Yeah.
Like someone's like the quarterback, someone's the receiver. Now, this is a funny story because when squads got introduced in Madden 18, it had not been in Madden since Madden 13. So a
It's
majority,
kind of insane.
yeah, so a majority of the community though had stopped playing with friends. Like they didn't know they didn't have the practice to play with friends. Like how are you gonna be a quarterback? And people had to really like get used to like someone running routes, someone like you're throwing the ball to a physical person controlling the receiver. It's not like the computer running the route. Now the timing's thrown off because you have to be on the same page of the person running the route. And this is where content really started to grow for me because luckily for me, me and my father we play Madden on the same household. I feel like gaming. That's something I miss about
Yeah.
gaming is like couching up, in person playing on the in the same household. And
Yeah.
for me, we play franchise, which people who play Madden will know what franchise is, and we play on the same team. So all those. It's funny because this is where content really blew up for me really fast because when squads got reintroduced, I was ahead of the curve in the sense to because I played franchise with my father. Um, I was used to physically throwing to someone, like the pressure of throwing to another real person. So when squads got reintroduced, you know, I was excited because it's a chance to play with our friends, but I was ahead of the curve in the community. I don't mean to brag, but I,
Yeah.
I was, I had the reps already of playing with another physical, like, person. The
Yeah. You were
timings.
like Kirito in Sword Art.
Yeah, like the timing and playing. When we launched into Madden 18 specifically, and I started making squad videos on Madden 18, they were doing really good. I had really reached my first like 100 view video. I shot from like 40K. I shot from 40 subs to like 100 and something subs, and everyone was commenting about the squad videos. I was going live at the time. Through my PlayStation, and like I said, because I had the reps of playing with the real people, people were watching me play, with my friends, and people were like, dude, like, you guys are so in sync. Like, you guys, we were looking better than people who play the game, as a bigger than me, bigger YouTubers. I'm
Yeah.
competing at a high enough level to, to draw in the views of being a great player. And that's all because the time in between, the hiatus of Madden not having it, I had the practice. So when we got to play with squads, you know, um, it was like it wasn't a switch of something I had to learn. A lot of the teams we played in Madden 18 just like were bad. The games were fun because we're also blowing out people, and people are like, dude, like this, like, why are they so in sync? Like it's so hard to be in sync, at that time.
Yeah.
So that was really like the boom of my channel, starting to grow, and it's a little bit of a long story, but and that goes back to what I said earlier about you having to record with what you have. Look, when I started, guys, like I didn't have a PC, I didn't have a laptop. I literally just had a PS4, and PS4 had Share Factory. I used you could record your gameplay on your PlayStation 4 physically. You just hit the control button, hit the record up to 60 minutes, do it. Then I would go back and I would just learn how to use Share Factory. It's just like CapCut now for TikTok. I mean, you just cut up your clips. You add music, you add an intro, you add outro. You can upload clips, and it's simple as that. What I'm trying to say is like what Shinobi said. It could be done with what you got, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be the biggest. Like obviously, when people go to do content, they think about like having an expensive camera, having a capture card, having a PC to record and edit, buying an editing program such as like Premiere or Sony Vegas or something like that. And that's stuff that, yes, down the line can help you and you can grow. But like if you look at um, content and where it is kind of today, everyone wants to do content. Content is like there's thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably millions of Twitch channels, millions of YouTube channels. It is a realistic thing for everyone to do now. So I don't think what you have as equipment should be the goal of entry at all. I think you should do exactly what Shinobi said. You should record with what you got, and that's what I did. And I know I'm rambling a lot now, but like I'll show you guys a good example. I mean, it's not like the craziest thing, but Shinobi can preach to it. Later down the year, after Madden 18 passes, we get like I take a little small break from Madden YouTube again. I've always took like small breaks, never long hiatuses, but like I took like small month breaks or whatever. But there was a
Yeah.
specific time around Madden 21 where now I have been playing Madden pretty realistic or pretty realistically 8 hours a day almost. I'm grinding it. Um, there's a thing that Zerk get telling me about. I had a specific boom in this game where in Madden 21 I was a leaderboard player. I was making a. This is when they introduced theme teams to the game, which is where the more players you have on the same team, kind of like FIFA, you get like a bonus. The teams perform better. Obviously, me being a Cardinals fan, I started doing Cardinals videos, and at the time, this is when I had a job, so I can obtain all the new cards. Um, and that's probably the hardest part about Ultimate Team when you go to create content is buying the cards. But I had the cards, I had the skill, I was leaderboard, and then I had a boom. And this is proves that what I'm saying is that you can do content on whatever you have to record with. I mean, you can Hulu can attest this or Shinobi can attest this. I went from 105 subs to 350 subs, and all my videos averaged about 1,000 views.
Yeah,
And
and this wasn't like over like a couple like this was like within like a couple weeks.
yeah, and I was trending. I like if you looked up Madden 21, you would go to filter by newest videos uploaded. At the time when I uploaded a video, I would get about 1,000 views to 1,200 views, and I was number 9 on YouTube. There was only 9 YouTubers above me that obviously averaged double my views because they're the faces of Madden, but I was still number 9 for that month, and longer than a month actually. I did it for about 3 or 4 months. And what I'm saying is that whatever you have to work with, it doesn't stop you from being able to make the content that you want to make. I think it's more about setting the goal of what you're trying to do. For me and making YouTube videos, it was a hobby no matter what. I didn't really look at it to make money. I wanted to make videos because I loved Madden. I loved playing the game at the time, and that's kind of how my content journey began. Now I don't really upload as much YouTube, and obviously you guys don't see Madden on the channel, but that's not because, you know, I. It's not because I don't like making YouTube videos. I just was burnt out. I think playing a game like that every day. I mean, I was uploading a video or two a week or every week, at least a video a week, but mostly two on top of streaming. And I've always kind of wanted to shift into streaming more. But my problem with content, and this is where we're going to talk about like the struggles next, because that's kind of like my story with YouTube being over, so we can both go into struggles next. I think my struggle with content, for me at least, is and Julio obviously is probably going to attest to this too because he is like this too. I think variety content is just something that I need to have available for me. I'm kind of at the point now to where like as much as I would love to grow, I want to play what I want to play, and I didn't want to be tied to just Madden, and that's why when I do YouTube, it's so hard for me to come back to YouTube consistently instead of streaming now, because or TikTok because when it comes to YouTube, it's a specific algorithm game that you have to play to where you have to upload a specific type of video or similar type of videos, and I just couldn't do that no more. I couldn't just upload Madden. I don't even play Madden now regularly, so it would be hard for me to want to, make that something I want to play. Um, it's an investment of time and money, especially for Ultimate Team, and I just got worn out of it. So I think when I go to make videos now, I'm at a place in my, streaming career or content career where I play what I want to play. Like right now, I'm streaming a lot of Deadlock. I obviously it stunts my growth, but I think you have to have an idea of what you want to do. And anyone listening to this podcast, um, I think you should not look at numbers as something as the end goal or means to an end. because there is a possibility where you could take 7 to 8 years to grow. You could take 10. You could take 20. You could do what I did on, get lucky, find a game, and grow kind of fast. But it stunts development in the sense to where you got to have a realistic goal of what you want to do content wise, what you want to play content wise. And like I said, me now I'm at the point where I do variety. I am okay with growing slowly and playing what I want to play. And that's the same reason with my YouTube channel now. In the last couple months, I upload games that I want to play. I don't really have a specific upload schedule to where I'm just uploading one game at a time, or I'm popping out 50 of this videos or 50 of that videos. I kind of just play as I play. And now that I got a PC, I mean, I've been streaming. I think that was always the goal for me to want to go live and play games, just because it's um, something that I enjoy doing, and it gives me the freedom to play like walkthroughs without having to record them, or play them in spurts. I could just go live if I want to finish the whole game on one stream. I can. If I want to play 8 hours on one stream, I can. I'm not saying I can't do that for YouTube, but it's just the aspect of how I enjoy my content, being able to throw on music, play it, stuff like that. That's kind of where I am with content, and that's where we can get into some of the struggles of content creators as far as when it comes to what you want to upload, how you want to theme your channel. I don't know if you have anything to pitch in for that kind of stuff. I think I'll let you go ahead and talk first about that kind of stuff. I think that'll be like something we can lean into, like people struggling to decide what they want to record, what games or what content they want to play or do. So I want to see what you have to say and your advice to help get over that hump.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it just leads down to being able to solidify what it is that you want out of creating content. If it's money, you're gonna have it's gonna be a struggle. Uh, but for me, it's it started off as that, right? But now it's not. Now it's like, well, it would be cool, like if it could put food on the table and keep the roof over my head, but it doesn't need to, and that's why I feel like for what I do, it's perfect because I can just play whatever I want. That's what inspired me to get into where I am now with the channel and like what I want out of it. So why would I stray away from that? And to like add on to like the numbers thing and stuff, you have to put it into perspective. Sure, if you want to chase the million, then like go for it. No, like it shouldn't, be a deterrent. Like if it was a really big number like that, but like right now I have one, like I think 144. Because I just looked it up because I actually just uploaded uh, the video that's gonna come up. Um, I don't even know 100 people. That number to me is insane. 140. I would have never imagined that I would have gotten to this point already. Sure, it wasn't like within a span of 2, 3 days. It was, I think, like 2 years, 2.5 years, to hit the triple digits. But just imagine filling up a room with 100 people. That's a lot of people. It might not seem like a lot because we're so used to bloated numbers of like, oh, biggest streamers, they got, 50K live viewers, which is a whole another battle of, difference between live views and just views on YouTube. But yeah, 50K viewers on the stream, and that's just on one platform. You've got another 30 on another one, maybe another 80K on another one. For videos, you see a million views within a couple hours. This is a number that's coming from a lot of different factors that you have to build up on over time. So if you're so focused on the number being a number, it's definitely gonna drain you. And it's not gonna be fun sitting down playing a game for X amount of hours if you wanna. stream it, or it's not going to be fun sitting down in front of the 100 gigs of videos and audio that you got to edit down to make a 30-45 minute video that ends up being 20 views at max and probably stays there because after some time YouTube's just gonna stop recommending it. It's gonna be discouraging. So if you want to do it to just let your creativity out, who gives a shit if you got one view? I started doing funny moments with the homies for reverse gaming, and it was popping off. It was doing like multiple hundreds of views. Why? Because the game that we were playing was just the thing that was the thing at that time. Now, if I play it, it's probably not gonna make anywhere near that, and that's okay if you just want to play the game that you want to play, or if you want to upload the kind of content that you want to upload. Um, it's a lot easier if you just want to do it to do it, have a creative outlet, or you want to like do it for the reason that I like doing it, to just like give people a scapegoat. Because if you can reach one person, as one person that you probably would have never reached before if you didn't upload it. You know what I'm saying? So for people that are doing it for those reasons, just sit down, do it. Don't look at the number as a number. Look at them as, people and like lives that you've affected. If you want to do it for money, I mean, I don't really have much to say about that because I'm not like in that mindset, but I can definitely see the struggles, and Drift touched on it a little bit, of like having to play the same thing over and over and over again. It could be really tiring, especially if you're streaming it. You're doing that shit every single day. That's that's insane to me. That's why I don't particularly like the thought of Twitch, or not just Twitch, but streaming, because I don't want to do the same thing every single day. I want to have, the freedom to just create and then edit it down to the way that I want it to be. Um, a perfect example of like literally just like being a slave to whatever it is that got you going is, and pretty topical right now just because he's still like blowing up, is Peanut, the Burn Peanut. He had like a sponsorship for Marathon.
Yeah.
I usually don't look at the live chats when I'm on stream, unless it's like one of the homies, because like I know them, right? So like I'll have the conversation. But and I only watch streams on YouTube, and it auto pulls up the live chat. The only thing I saw in that stupid ass chat during that was, "This game sucks. Go back to Ark. Go back to Ark. When are you playing Ark? Why are we playing this shit?" That would be so fucking tiring to see, because people just want you for that particular reason. And if you're, if you're doing it for money, you gotta bite the bullet. You just gotta give them what they want, because that's your income. You gotta take care of your market. But if you're doing content creating just, because you want to like connect with people and stuff, that's such a shit feeling to feel like, oh, they don't really like me and they don't really care about what it is that I'm bringing to the table. They just want to see this game. I I just I wouldn't be able to do content just for that. Um, but you know, if you want it to put food on the table and stuff, you kind of just have to do it. You can get lucky and evolve with the times and switch it up and then have your new way to get your bread and butter. Like a good example would be Cinnamon Toast Ken. For those that don't know of him, it's such a shit way to introduce it, but like PewDiePie's friend, like he started off same thing, doing let's plays and stuff with gaming, but he, over time, he got his wife, got a kid, got multiple now. He's got priorities. He's got to put food on the table.
Yep.
The gaming didn't really bring in that kind of money anymore, so he had to switch over to reaction stuff because at that time, reaction videos and reaction content, I mean, it's still a big thing, but back then, that's when like it really started like going off, and anybody that was reacting to anything was getting a bag. If that's what you got to do, then that's what you got to do to put food on the table. There are moments where you can like still make it fun, but it's just gonna be a lot harder and a lot more of a emotional warfare going on with that aspect. And also like piggybacking off of what you were talking about of the equipment and what you have not really mattering as long as you're putting it out. Like starting off with the phone, you can buy the same stupid ass mic that all the streamers have. You can use the same software. You can use the same plugins. You can use all the same shit. It's not gonna matter if you're not bringing something to the table. It could
Mm-hmm.
be something as small as being, quippy. It could be like you have a certain style of editing. You have uh, a gift of being really good at challenges, so that's your bread and butter. But if you're just doing the same shit everybody else is doing, you're gonna get flooded out because there's already people for that. Why would they now invest their time to you? That's another thing. That's another big struggle with content creating is the currency of time. A lot of people don't have time, and time's not something that you can get back, and it's a very limited source. You gotta be doing something that's worth people's time and investment to be able to justify them coming to your channel, sharing, linking, and all that. So you just the best possible thing you do is just be yourself, be creative with whatever it is that you're planning to make, and then just make it unique, make it uniquely you.
Yep. I 100% agree. I think to piggyback off what you just said now, going off of what I said, I think if you're looking at this is gaming specifically, if you are a type of person who is looking for growth and numbers to be the main source of thing, I think everything Shinobi just said about adding time and value to your content to make people want to watch you. I think the best advice I can give would be to find like for me like it's not it's it was niche with the lightning that I captured in a bottle with Madden because although there is a lot of creators, the category of creators in that game was niche and limited to pick from a successful rate. So if you are trying to be the person who wants to grow, I highly recommend you playing a game that is not mainstream. Do not be a new Twitch streamer and go live trying to play Arc Raiders unless what you're doing is and even then the problem with you playing a mainstream game is when you hit the go live button, you may be the funniest person on Twitch, you may be the most creative person on Twitch, but because there is 10,000 other people also going live at that game. And when you have someone like the Burnt Peanut, it's hard to go down the line on Twitch and, see your channel, for example. Like I said, if you're brand new to Twitch, like
Yeah,
let's just say you just started, you're probably going to be one of those people who go live with zero viewers, maybe two, maybe one. And it's crazy because if you look at the numbers for Twitch, if you, the top 5% of people in Twitch average more than 5 viewers. That's how hard it is to get more than 5 viewers. And if you're already playing a mainstream game, it's even harder. It's gonna bring self doubt. It's gonna bring like, oh, I've been streaming for. I see plenty of people who just start streaming, and they give up or they get they're not motivated or they're down or they're like depressed because they've been live for like a month and they haven't got more than 2 viewers, 3 viewers. all that ties into. I'm not saying that it's only this, but a lot of it ties into you have to look at what your goal is, and like, if your goal is to grow, like he said, try to play a game where you have a chance to grow. A lot of people that aren't Ninja or aren't Burnt Peanut, they start off playing a game that wasn't you know popular. I know plenty of people who play. Jinxie is a good example of this. Jinxie was playing R6. He blew up on R6, a game that was prominently kind of dead, and he revived the game as he grew. I Sketch is a good example. Sketch is also similar to
Yeah.
me. He came up in the Madden scene. He came up with, you know, Zach, which is Zach something, I forget his name. He's also in Arizona native, does Madden content. Um, they played duos and they grew. He blew up, and then Sketch, from Madden, became mainstream. Then he started collabing. But what Sketch did was he played a small game. He pretty much did the same thing that I just explained with my Madden thing. Is he grew up or he grew off of Madden, got tired of the game itself, and decided to pivot into other content. For me, I'm not saying I'm huge, but for me to gain those 300 subs, I know my channel fell down because I'm inactive, but I still have a small community of 20 or 30 people who support me. So when I go live, I have 10 to 5 to 6 viewers. When I make a video, I still get, 20, 30 views. I'm not saying it's a lot from what I used to get, but what I'm saying is imagine that on a wider scale, guys. If you play a smaller game, let's say you get 1,000 subs, you get 1,000 followers, you get, I don't know, let's say you play Royale. If you can average 500 players playing that, and then you decide to start playing Arc Raiders, your Arc Raiders, when you go live because you have a following, will have went from 0 viewers to 20 viewers, 30 viewers, 40 viewers, and that's better than nothing. I think if you're going at this from the point of wanting to gain money or followers, you have to strategically pick a game. In the game industry, you have to pick a game that is smaller, and that's because something else that Julio said in the podcast. I think that him and Fane were talking about. There's three different eras I can remember of gaming that has blown up. One, he is right. The era of making COD montages and stuff like that, all those people who have made tons of money, millions of dollars, that is the first wave of real content creators or real gamers. The second
Yeah.
wave would be like 2016 Fortnite. I think 2015, 2016 Fortnite. Everyone was playing that game. It really opened up the floodgate to making more content. Ninja kind of proved that you could make this a full-time career. Like Ninja was the first guy to go out
Yeah.
there and average, millions of dollars. He was, the face of Red Bull. He got his own shoes at Adidas. Fortnite really blew it up. The next wave of big content creation, I would say, would be like COVID, peak COVID.
Yep.
Warzone, cozy games like Animal Crossing. And I hate to say it, but like it's crazy that even more people. It opened up gender neutral gaming, which I mean like more females predominantly started growing during COVID, and now there's way almost double the amount of female creators that there are male creators because gaming was introduced to a lot more people. And I think when you're looking at it to make content from a perspective of growth, you have to do what some of those people did. Animal Crossing or Fortnite was a good example for people to grow off because it was a new IP. You weren't competing with a lot of people. Arc Raiders, yes, is a new IP, but it is a game, you know, already dominated by people who have views, like the Burnt Peanut or like, Gingy or people like that. So when you go to play those games, it's a little harder. So I always recommend people who get into content, one, have patience, two, don't look at your numbers, and three, like I said, try to grow off of a game that can help you grow if that is your end goal. For me and Shinobi, we're kind of like not we're the opposite. We're playing what we want to play, and I think the topic that he made about why he doesn't stream is a good example. It goes both ways. People who don't want to make videos, people who don't want to stream, you have your reasons of why you don't want to do either. At this point, you kind of just have to do what you want to do, play what you want to play, and if it's a hobby at the end of the day, growth will just come over time. And I think that's what you kind of have to accept or be acceptant of. It's just a realistic mindset that you have to set up.
Yeah. And then it popped up in my head when you said like you're probably gonna be streaming to zero people. You have to put in the same amount of effort for zero viewers, 10 viewers, 100, 1,000, and so on. You can't be like, oh well, if nobody's watching me, who gives a shit? Yeah, you should give a shit because if by chance the one person that actually goes in your stream or like clicks on the video and like you're just not motivated, you're not, you know, trying to have like a conversation with yourself, you're trying not being interactive, why would they come back? Why would they decide, okay, yeah, I should follow you because you're just sitting there and not doing anything different than what I would be doing playing the game. You know what I mean? You have to keep that same momentum and keep that same uh, I, passion, I guess, for me, uh, from the very beginning to the very end. I
I agree.
remember seeing like clips of Queso, like early Queso, when he had like 2 5 viewers. He's kept the same energy since then to now. You probably wouldn't think that because of how many viewers now that he has. But again, it's just like a scale thing. The effort had always been there. He just kept on going with it. He didn't really care about the numbers. He just knew, okay, I know what I'm capable of doing. I know that I'm funny. I'm gonna continue to be funny, and whatever happens after that happens after that. It stayed at 100 when he started day one to now. So you have to think of it like that too. You have to sell yourself.
Yeah, I agree. That's a perfect
Um,
example of everything we just said. I think
yeah,
that's everything you could look at when it comes to content, guys. Is um, try to figure out what you want to do as far as what you want to create. Um, Look at what you have, the tools, what you have to make videos. Don't use expensive tools as an excuse not to try. Um, if you're going down the YouTube rabbit hole, um, explore ideas of how you want to create videos. I think there is no harm in uploading a specific type of video. Um, I think if you're going down the Twitch route, yes, like it's easier to say to play a smaller game. I know that sounds like bad, but if you care about having views, play a smaller game. If you just want to play the game for fun and play what you want to play, like if you're someone who just ignored what I just said about going live and millions of people are already playing Arc Raiders, that's fine. Go live on Arc Raiders, but just have the expectation that it's going to take time for you to get views and or spend some of that time promoting yourself, doing shorts, tweeting out your stream, you know, interacting with people, try to get LFGs. I think people also don't look at collabing as an idea of growth. When you can collab with people, like we said earlier in the podcast, one, it motivates you to do more content, and two, it just collaborations opens the doorway to viewership and stuff like that as well. Those are all things you can do to steadily help yourself grow. I think you just have to get out there and do it, put it all together. Whether you have expensive product or not expensive product, whether you have expensive programs or not expensive programs, whatever you want to make games on, or whatever you want to make videos on, just go out there and do it. Um, it's easier said than done. I get that, but it's also not hard to try. And you may be lucky and one it takes one video, it takes one moment, one raid, one anything for you to have a moment where your whole life changes or your content grows. um, we've both experienced it. We're smaller creators. Like I said, I caught lightning in the bottle with my Madden videos, and I picked a niche subject. Most people play Madden. They play by themselves. It's solo. It's solo by themselves. They play squads or NFL squads. They play Ultimate Team all by themselves. I hopped out the opportunity of squads coming back, and I was ahead of the curve. So the gameplay that I brought was different, and we were ahead. I mean, you didn't really see a lot of teams scoring 40, 50 points in unison playing with two other people because most people had to relearn how to play with friends. Like a lot of people, made the mistakes of not knowing, how to throw the ball to another physical person. But because I was ahead of the curve, it led to me having the opportunity to boom in content. For Julio, he had a boom too. He's been doing walkthroughs, and then one time he stumbled upon an IP called Kirby, and his videos kind of popped, and it
not
could.
just pop, but that shit went in it. Like I had people from Japan in the comment section. Like that was insane to me.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It can happen in anything. Another good example is my TikTok. When I take a break from, I've always made content. I have breaks between each platform. I'm streaming. I'll take a break for streaming for a couple weeks. On YouTube, I took a month break or two. On TikTok, I took a break from here and there. But I know when I'm taking a break from one, I'm usually focusing on the other. When I first left YouTube, I was really going heavy on TikTok. I mean, I've uploaded over 400 shorts of gaming. I mean, they're not all stuff. I take them down because I like to clean up my channel stuff. But I've uploaded around 400 pieces of content. And recently, I've been playing a game called Deadlock. Most of my TikToks average around like a couple, like maybe like 1,000 views, 10 to 15 likes, or 100, 500, 700 views. Recently, I've been uploading a Deadlock TikTok, and I stumbled upon a video that now is recently over 200K views, like 1,500 comments. It takes one chance of you just uploading something randomly for you to realize that you have something. And I think if you don't try, you won't ever find that. And it happens for both of us on a smaller scale. Now imagine that happening to someone on a bigger scale. I mean, people get rated all the time, and their life changes. People have a video spikes where they make a viral video, and a good example is what he said about reaction YouTubers. You make one viral video, and then you have the right person react to it, or you have multiple people react to it. Your whole channel will change overnight.
Yep. I mean, we gave the Hawk tour of the world
Yeah,
for 2 words.
yeah,
So,
exactly. And that's just content in the way it is now. I just think you have to understand what you're going into. I think the only advice we can give to, struggles of being in content, because me and Shinobi now have been in content for at least more than 4 or 5 years. I would say you're going to have your unmotivated times. You're going to have your not wanting to record moments. You're gonna have your not wanting to go live moments, and that's completely normal. What you have to realize that if this is not your day-to-day job, do not treat it like a 9 to 5. That will instantly ruin the hobby for you. It's the same reason why I stopped making Madden videos. It's the same reason why he doesn't stream. It's just if you make something forcefully not fun, it reflects in your content and it reflects in your motivation to want this to be a hobby. That's
yep.
why you have to kind of focus on it being the hobby first and let the growth come second. Now, if you're like he said, if you're someone who like this is your living and you kind of have to play what you get paid for, um, that's the situation. And it just depends on your situation at the end of the day as well. But I do also think that sucks for creators. Like I said, I think he brought up a good idea with Peanut. Marathon is not bigger than Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders has about like 70 to 80,000 concurrent players, 100,000. Marathon's kind of sitting in that 30, 40, 50K range. And unless you're really a fan of Bungie, you're not really going to be a bigger Marathon supporter. But I recently knew what he was talking about, and the same thing just happened with Tim and Ninja. Tim and Ninja are some of the biggest creators, on Twitch, and they both recently liked High Guard, but it was hard for them to go live and play High Guard when their whole chat is just saying get off the game or destroying the game. It makes it like unfun because someone like Tim, who
Yeah.
predominantly, I'm not gonna be mean, but predominantly isn't so skillful at games that he plays. He kind of is a content creator for enjoyment. You watch him for entertainment. When he has no chat to interact with, it's hard for him to play games. So that's why you see him play like sponsored games or games that he feels like that are popular in the sense of games that his viewers will be entertained with. Like today, right now, he's currently live on Deadlock. This game is booming. A lot of people are playing it. He's playing that game. His chat's not going crazy about it. So when you make anything 9 to 5 or a job, it also ruins the hobby. So that's why I said kind of set your ideas straight. If this is something that you want to be a career, either way, it all starts at the same point, and it is a hobby first. Every creator that is also super famous will tell you that they did YouTube for the love of the game first. They did YouTube because they love making videos first. Then, when they successfully grew, you don't have to make this serious until it's serious, is what I'm trying to say pretty much.
Yeah.
Just start off with whatever equipment you have, whatever videos you want to make, and then go from there.
Yeah. Once you start getting the Opera GX sponsorships and the VPNs, that's when you're like, okay, now we gotta strategize and think about that.
Yep, I 100% agree. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add. This one has been going for a while, so we can go ahead and wrap it up. I think if you guys are interested in making content, again, we've already said this before. I don't want to keep like re-saying the same thing. I think this is the final message, and we've already said it multiple times. I think just do it, dude. Like just go out there and play whatever you want. Realize the kind of audience you want to try to grab. Um, the only other general advice I could give, on top of like a different topic, like I said, if you're gonna try the streaming route, maybe try playing and you want it to grow, try playing a smaller game. Julio gave you a good example for the YouTube videos. If you're a creative person, go out there and Make the videos you want to make. Try not to focus on the algorithm too hard. If you're someone who wants to play like vintage games, maybe like your favorite game is like an older game, I think a good option would be looking into making short form content for like TikTok or streaming on TikTok, because I don't know what it is about TikTok, but vintage games exist there. I literally watch people go live playing PS2 games and they have hundreds of viewers. If you look at that same game on Twitch, there's not even a single person streaming that. So just do your research is also a good thing. Look up what kind of content you want to make, what you want to play, and then go from there. If it's gaming, if it's IRL stuff, also just do your research. That a simple of you. I think like a thing before I end. Actually, this last thing I think this is a negative thing that people have with content creating, and that is no longer using inspo as a way to create content. Julio said this. I mean, Shinobi or Julio said this earlier in the podcast that Jacksepticeye was a big example of for him, and he wanted to do his videos somewhat similar like that, like in the sense that where that's the kind of videos he wants to create to make people's days better, and his content kind of reflects on the similar Let's Play channel or Let's Play style. I think if you watch a certain creator, it is not bad to do your content as an inspo based off of that creator. I know a lot of people like the hate culture thing and be like, if why would you just bootlegging or copying this person? Like, it doesn't have to be like that. Like, it could be a positive thing. I think people who inspire you to make content a certain way is not a bad thing either.
Yeah, and I think a good thing too is like with the using the tools that you have, master the craft. Like we or I talked about, or mentioned rather, in the previous episode, Daft Punk, their first album, the Homework album. David Guetta, he like loved that album and was like, "Yo, like, what did y'all like use?" Because in his head, he's thinking, "Oh, like it's a big studio. They got all like the high tech equipment or whatever." They were literally just in their room with a synth and a drum pad. That's all they had. But they created like this masterpiece because they knew the tools that they had and they were able to use it to make what they had like already envisioned. If you're not putting in the time to be able to do that, the best mic is not going to help your quality in audio. The best editing software is not going to get you the best edits. Like you have to know the tools and like really study the tools that you have, and then you can then like move forward and evolve that way. It's not going to, save you. And another thing too, if it's not a software that you're comfortable using and you're like, this is too complicated or it's just straight up not what I need to be able to do it, then don't use it. Sure, the tops or the greats might be using it, but if that's not what you need, then don't like force it. Don't make it like work. Like a lot of people, they use Sony Vegas. I tried Sony Vegas. I thought it was complete ass, but some people swear by it. I use Lightworks. It's perfect for what I need it for. It does what I need it to do, and if it doesn't, then I'll use something else that I'm comfortable using. Like for audio, I use Ableton. So just I mean, hone in your skills, put in the effort, and just have fun with it. Because like you said, if you're trying to just have fun with it and then you're just making it a 9 to 5 and the pressure of the numbers coming in, like, oh, I gotta upload every day and I gotta do my 3 different shorts for 3 different platforms and stuff and all that, like I get that, you're just trying to market yourself, but it's not your job. Nobody's paying you to do it. You have to love actually doing it to eventually consider it as a job, or it start generating revenue for you.
Yep, I 100% agree. I think that's 100% valid what you said about Sony Vegas and stuff like that. I think there's alternatives too. I'm gonna give you guys a couple right now. If you guys are looking to get into content, I kind of just completely thought about it. After he mentioned that, I think a good one would
Yeah.
be like DaVinci Resolved. A lot of people don't.
Yeah, that's a big one coming
That's
up too.
a big one that everyone uses a lot. You'd be surprised how actually like mainstream editors use DaVinci Resolve. There is people that I know that have thousands of viewers, and they have 100,000 followers, and they pay an editor, and that editor will literally say that they use DaVinci Resolve because it's just as good. If you, like you said, if you honed what you're doing, your edits or the editing process can be done correctly. Yes, when you get the top of the line products, obviously they have benefits. Like you're maybe gonna have like higher resolution. You're gonna have a little bit more extra options, but a lot of these free programs give you the opportunity to do everything exactly the same. A good thing for gamers, like if you're a console gamer, a lot of people look at Elgato and they're like, "Damn, I don't want to spend 150 $200 on a capture card." There's 40.
OBS baby, free.
Yeah, OBS is free. There's also that brand, the Difocal or whatever, the in
Oh
quotation
yeah,
the TikTok capture card, which is the plain like black one that looks like very thin. It goes up to 1080. You're not gonna get 4K like you can with Elgato. Obviously, Elgato top of line, they have the means to get 4K, but you can do 1080 60 FPS, which is viable for a video. If people are watching you play, the performance of higher FPS and higher quality is not that important. Like, I'm sorry to say it, like,
yeah. Because to add to that, most people don't even know what the hell that means. They just they're like, oh, that looks really nice, but they can't tell you, oh, this is 4K, oh, this is 8K, or they tell you the specific hertz that it was compressed in. Most people don't care. Honestly, like you said, the 1080p, that's probably all you need.
I think that it just you can do anything with what you do content wise. I mean, also on top of that, consoles, like people are afraid of going live. Like on PlayStation, on Xbox, you could literally go live through your console. The only thing you just can't add is music to your stream. That's just where like having a capture card or a PC, yes, is a little better because you can add music to your stream. Oh well, like you don't have music in your stream for now. You could still grow, you know, and make a little small community off of just going live off of your PlayStation. For example, me with Madden. I was able to I cut all my clips. And Julio can, I mean, Shinobi can attest this. I added transitions. I used the same sound cues that everyone used in Madden, like the little sniper scope when it was like a dot. I used sound effects throughout all my games, like hard hits, cool plays, edited stuff. I did all that on Share Factory on my PlayStation. I added music. I added my commentary over with a nice mic. I had an intro. I had an outro. Everything was able to be done off my PlayStation. And people would watch my videos and be like, "Oh, like, what do you use to edit your like?" I literally had the same thing happen to him. Like what he mentioned. I've had people comment like, "What do I use to edit my video?" When I say Share Factory, they're like, "What the fuck?" Like, they're like,
Yeah.
and it's the same quality as someone who is way bigger than me in Madden. The only difference is like IRL camera. Like they have a 4K camera, maybe like they have a face cam and stuff like that. Like a little bit of stuff changes, but the quality of the video and growth can be done by any type of program. And there's so many alternatives. Like Shinobi just literally listed another program that he uses, not DaVinci. There's options out there for you to go grab media and record, and if it's even easier on PC. If you're on PC, there's like 15 different clipping devices. There's Metal, there's Outplayed, you know, there's so many more. If you have NVIDIA, you can use NVIDIA's actual software to record gameplay. You know, streaming through PC is easy. You don't even need a capture card. You don't even need a capture card regardless for a PC, so that's already a save. The only expensive part is the PC. So there's plenty of things for you guys to do for content. I think there's plenty of ideas for you guys to go make content in certain places. I think that's everything we can cover. We've kind of already kind of rambled over the same thing a few times. I hope you guys did enjoy this episode. It was a little bit of a long one again, but me and Shinobi wanted to share our journey through content, some of the struggles we went through, some of the struggles you guys probably go through. If there's any questions you guys want to ask us about something that you want answered that is on this podcast, like what it was like transitioning for me from YouTube to Twitch, or from him transitioning from his hiatus to coming back, and you want to add more depth to the question, go ahead and drop it in the comments below. We will be happy to answer anything. If you guys are someone who is just starting content and you guys want like opinions, or like you guys want a little bit of like growth, I guess, kind of, you go ahead and put it in the comments. like give us a channel description. We'll check out your channel. I'm sure he looks for smaller creators. I look for smaller creators. I love watching, not mainstream creators because sometimes some of the best people who make content aren't famous, or they aren't big.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like playing games that aren't mainstream. I like to watch creators play games that may not be popular. I had a handful of creators that played Rogue when I was super into Rogue, and they didn't have millions of subscribers. They were small. I've Blood Hunt was the same thing. I'm sure for Julio, it's like other niche games that he plays or walkthrough games he plays. Um, it's just something that you can do. And if you learned anything from this podcast, is I would just say, you know, hopefully you guys take what we gave you guys, and it gives you the opportunity to maybe start content, or maybe this is something that opens up the doorway for you to be motivated, just like the way Shinobi said in the beginning of the podcast, how coming back to the podcast really motivate him to get going again. I think for me it's doing the same thing for me. It makes me want to go live more. It makes me want to be prepared to do this. It gives me ideas to make more videos, and he's actually one of the people who got me off of Madden. I think watching his content was what made me want to not be one dimensional and stuck to just making YouTube videos, just making Madden videos. Now I kind of dabble in everything. I made short form content on TikTok. I stream. I still upload YouTube videos when I have them. I play Fragpunk. I play High Guard. I went through a Destiny phase, X Defiant. I literally just do content based off of my hobby now, and what makes me happy on what I want to play. I'm not forced to be a 9 to 5 Madden grinder anymore. And I think
Yeah.
that's something that you guys can learn too as well. If you're someone who is already currently making content and you're kind of like in the loop and you're bored of making content, like pivot, change. Change is not bad.
Yeah. Eventually, you'll have to evolve, not just, or not in the terms of like, oh, I have to play something different, but the way you approach it, you have to evolve. Yeah, I mean, time goes on, ways of editing and ways to trend or get yourself out there, that all that evolves. You have to constantly evolve with it too.
Yep, I 100% agree. All right, guys. Other than that, it has been your boy Drift and Shinobi. We're gonna go ahead and end the podcast. We'll let you guys uh, enjoy this episode, and we'll be back for the next one. With the next one, we'll be covering something kind of cool. It's a little different. It's gonna be another different episode. I think we're gonna take a break from gaming still one more week, and we're actually gonna be talking about our collectible stuff. Julio actually has a trip that he's going on that we'll not spoil. We'll let him show pictures and stuff from his trip when he comes back. But we'll also be talking about collectible stuff, like kind of like our Pokemon card collection or any type of collectible stuff that maybe we like to show off, like whether it be figures, virtual stuff. Just it's gonna be a collectible episode in media as a whole. So hopefully you guys will enjoy all that. We're also going to be covering his trip because he went to somewhere unique that a lot of people want to go to. So that'll be something cool that we can talk about. And then it'll be collection stuff. And then after that, we'll go back to the regularly scheduled program. We'll probably try to figure out something to do gaming wise or something. There'll always be something to talk about. So we'll go ahead and go from there. But other than that, it has been your boy Drift. I hope you guys like, comment, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, comment below your favorite part of the podcast. Check out my Twitch. We'll be going live playing games like all the games I listed in this podcast, like Deadlock, etc. I'm gonna let Shinobi do his outro, tell you guys what to watch out for, and then we'll go ahead and end the stream or end the podcast.
I don't like plugging myself, man. YouTube will send me your way when you need me. Believe me. That's how you always find like that inspo. It'll come that video or that let's play or that content creator will come across your path once you need it. But if you are interested, Shinobi Radixan, just same as the name, it's let's plays pretty much. I really don't do funny moments anymore, but maybe. But yeah, just get up, do it if you want to, and just keep on grinding.
All right, everyone. Peace.